Should you pull for Warrior Light's FR? His role is going to be a tank. Very simple, very straight to the point. His notable attacks are Shining Shield, his skill 1. It is 5 singular HP dumps. It grants shield for 7 turns to the party, and it is also high turn rate. Throw Buckler, his skill 2. It is 4 HP dumps with 50% splash. It inflicts lock for 5 turns on all enemies. It grants shield for 7 turns on himself. And it also grants himself elude for 3 turns. What it is, it's debuff evasion rate up by 75%. Not to mention, it is also high turn rate. Shining Wave, his EX. It is 4 HP dumps with 50% splash, and it heals the party. Bitter End, his LD. It is 6 HP dumps with 100% splash. It increases all skill uses by 1. It grants shield for 7 turns to the entire party. It inflicts lock on all enemies for 5 turns. And here's a fun thing with his LD is all of the debuffs on the enemy, if they aren't already framed, Warrior of Light's LD makes them framed. It's a very interesting mechanic and one that I would not expect Warrior of Light to have. Lastly, it grants Guardian Shield, his overhead, for 15 turns. What it does is it transforms Warrior of Light's shield buffs to also HP damage shield, which it shields the amount of damage according to the remaining value of shield. It's a bit complicated, but once you start using him, you'll figure it out pretty easy. It also raises Party Brave regeneration by 50% of the remaining shield. The BT effect, it lasts 8 turns, and its main thing is its Party Brave regen from 50% to 100% of the remaining shield. His force conditions, my favorite part of Warrior of Light's kit, plus 40% whenever Brave damage is reduced or absorbed by a buff. So basically, whenever an enemy hits one of Warrior Light's shield buffs, you're going to be getting an instant 40%. And here's the fun thing with that 40%. There's no limit per turn to how many times this thing can tick up. So if you hit a lot of thresholds of the enemy and they hit your shields multiple times, you're going to be getting multiple 40% percentiles. So it's very possible sometimes to even get 100%, 200% per turn. That's how crazy this force condition can get. You have a plus 10% per shield buff on the party whenever someone's using an ability. So if your team has all 3 shield buffs still up and you still move, that's 30% for you. Finally, you have a 20% when Warrior of Light attacks an enemy that's targeting him. So whenever an enemy has lock and Warrior of Light attacks them, that's a plus 20%. Let's move on to his pros. Where do I even start? He is arguably the best FR in the game at the time right now. Of course, when future units come out, that can be a little bit more debatable. But as of right now, Warrior of Light has arguably the best FR in the game, in my opinion. You can get the easiest 999% force times you've ever gotten in your life. No FR gets even close to how fast you can get to 999%, even in Echo era. Again, when it comes to turn-hogging bosses, when it comes to bosses that move a lot, Warrior of Light utterly annihilates them. The FR is perfectly catered towards fighting those types of bosses. And if you have proper counter-attacking tools, say if you have traps set in, if you have Seiss, Minwoo, you have Gladio, and you mix that in with Warrior Light's FR. Oh, beauty incarnate, I'm telling you. Additionally, Warrior of Light has very, very consistent lock and shield. Both his skill 1 and skill 2 have so many uses. You could get by just spamming both of them throughout the entire fight and you will never run out. And both of them inflicting lock and shield every single time. More often than not, the enemy is going to be locked and your party is going to be shielded for the entirety of the fight. When you're using Warrior of Light, I wouldn't really worry about being conservative on using his skills because he has so many of them. You can get by just spamming them, honestly. His LD shield buff mitigates almost all HP attacks. So unless you're dealing with an enemy that has an instant kill rate or you let the enemy charge to freaking 150,000 brave, which you really shouldn't do realistically. Apart from those scenarios, you're really not going to be having any damage dealt on you if Warrior of Light is on the field. His tanking capabilities, while not absolute for 9.999 times out of 10, you're going to be just fine with him. Now with this particular pro, some might say it's not even a pro, but I personally think it is because it gives you an opportunity to save your resources. Warrior of Light's BT is not necessary at all. While yes, the 100% party brave regen according to shield is nice, that could easily be bypassed and compensated for by just having another support unit in the team. Warrior of Light is not supposed to be your 100% support unit, and if you're trying to make him your support unit, you're playing the game wrong. It's completely not necessary, and if you wanted to just use his LD and FR and that was it, you will be completely fine. I'm personally not getting the BT because I've already green Terra. I'm not going for Warrior of Light's BT. I'm only going for his FR. The last pro, despite being a tank and despite not being an on-book attacker, his damage still isn't half bad. You know, he still has plenty of splash. You know, his LD has 100% splash. That is kind of broken, in my opinion. Even though his main role is obviously going to be your tank, his damage can hold up. Let's get to his cons. And I'll be honest, there aren't a lot. But there are cons regardless, and I still want to go over them. Warrior of Light has no counterattacking whatsoever. One of the only problems he has with being a tank. He does not counterattack at all. If you want some off-turn damage, you will have to look elsewhere. And the other thing that Warrior of Light, you know, lacks, quote unquote, his kit still does not guarantee 24/7 survival. So he's not necessarily as guaranteed to protect your party as, say, Gladio, Zac, because Zac is guaranteed. You will not die if Zac's BT is on the field. But with Warrior of Light, you do have to watch out for guaranteed KO hits whenever they come in the fight, or if the enemy charges up to freaking 150,000 Brave, you're still gonna have to look out for that because that's still gonna probably kill your part. The last con, it's with his FR. His FR really doesn't want you to act. The FR wants them to act. And here's the problem with Warrior of Light. Both of his skills are high turn rates. So unless you manually get rid of the speed passives, his high turn rates might hurt you a little bit. And while yes, his damage is good, it's nowhere near justifiable to, you know, hogging up turns in the FR. You want the enemy to take as many turns as possible. It's counterintuitive a little bit. My final Shoji Pull rating on Warrior of Light's FR and his entire kit in general, I'm going to give it an S+. I think it's arguably the best FR in the game right now. There's no reason why you shouldn't get him, even if, you know, he's not necessarily a favorite and you're just going to use him once or twice. I think the fact that you don't even need the BT in order for him to be top tier boosts his availability to everyone. You don't need nearly as much investment in him as you would a BTU. Even without a BT, he's going to carry your team. So that's my Should You Pull video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!